Welcome back, Poggers, to another episode of the PogState. I'm ATLUS, and finally, the band is back together. We have Valdes, Chronicler, and Wolf, all of us, the full team, back in gear, ready to give you one of the greatest episodes in PogState history, or at least one of the episodes in the series of PogStates that we've had this season. Undebatable.
I'd go as far to say that you can even include them in the list of PogState that have been released ever.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
this
going
video
there.
is going to come out, yeah.
Whoa.
It's definitely at least top 50.
My goodness.
Already, I can tell. Yeah.
Well, now that we've set the expectations to 1 million, let's dive in to this one. And let's start off by having a little bit of a reshuffle, by changing things up a little bit, and maybe checking out some of the new LCK Digital collectibles. Let's open some legendaries, shall we? It's time to have some fun, boys. It's time to gacha. This is something that some of us have had a little bit more experience in than others. It's time to unlock some of these legendaries. We haven't owned any of the legends yet. We have been gifted with these cute little bags. We can take our cute little boxes out of our cute little bags if we would like to.
Yes.
You guys may have seen some of the new LCK Digital collectibles that are now available. You can just freely collect some Pog cards and things like that as interviews are going on and things like that. Front cover of this box, super cool because it's got names of all LCK players, young and old and new.
CV Max.
For example, there is Loco Doco right near Rookie, right near Emperor and Noah. Oh my god, they're just Zephyr,
GBM.
My favorite
Insect.
My favorite combo of names is probably Zero, Corn Salad, Long Panda.
Where's Corn Salad? I was
remember
looking for
Long
him.
Panda.
I I was looking for Corn Salad. Where is he? Oh, I see
at
him.
the
He's right
bottom,
bottom
yeah.
left. Yeah.
I like
Master
the
Yi
time on
mid
it.
Corn Salad.
I mean, right up there with Act Scene, Blossom, Vinyl Cat. It's
Wait.
just a random assortment of words.
Max and Pilot used to actually lane together, and their names are together. Isn't that cute? And then
That's
their top lane is
adorable.
right there as well with ADD. I loved that MVP roster. And Ian's right there. And then Core JJ's randomly in between. I could just keep reading. Never mind. Let's not do that. Let's get into maybe unlocking some of these legends. What do you reckon? I think
I'm gonna
I think
go
it's Valdes
first.
that should do it. Yeah. Get in there, Valdes.
All right, let it be known the VIP pack is the one that
Okay.
counts, okay? That's the one that you get. That's
What,
the one that's
welcome
associated
box.
with
yeah,
you, okay?
the gift box. That's the one.
Let's go to the Sunwurham and open my VIP pack.
Yay!
Yay! Open pack.
Oh my god,
Yay.
what is it?
It's
Oh my God.
opening.
What is it?
Whoa.
If you click
Don't click it.
Click it. I say click it. I say go
Legendary
for it.
Moments
Take a
card.
deep breath.
What is happening? Oh my god. It's a common. Jace.
Oh!
It's Keen.
Oh my god!
He got
That's
keyed.
a pretty good one, I think.
That's actually top tier. No one's going to match
Skirmish. Yeah, it's a skirmish card.
Yeah.
All right, on
What's
to the
the
next.
one? Whoa,
Varus, KT aiming.
Oh,
that. No, I'm pretty sure it's,
It's
BDD.
rare. It's rare.
It's aiming.
Rare aiming. Okay, that's pretty good. It's rare, you know.
That's a rare aiming W that you just picked up there. Not
Okay.
that rare these
On to the
days.
next one. There's 6 cards in this pack. Lux, T1, Carrier.
OMG?
Ooh.
Carrier.
This one's specially made for Valdes, I'm pretty sure.
I
got a
think they
Raria.
knew that I was gonna open this
Can't
one.
wait till I open my 5 crocodiles.
All right. We got a common Victor. Oh, Faker.
Faker
It's a
card?
Faker card.
Common
okay.
Victor.
There
Victor.
you
gotta be
go.
valuable.
Immediate money. Okay, we made money on this pack.
I don't think
All right,
you can sell them.
Cassante. Oh, I got Dusante.
Oh. Okay, what the hell is going
Your
on?
play-
Your
Playmaking.
packs are dope, man.
Definitely not rigged. Oh, a super rare.
What?
Lux, Carrier.
You
I
get
mean, it's gotta be
super
right.
raria?
So I got a rare Carrier and a super rare Carrier.
Oh my. Does it
For
get...
the same Lux. I don't know if
Is
it's
there
the same
Giga
series.
Rare? Like Mega Uber Giga Rare?
I don't know.
Whoa.
I did get super rare. I don't think there's probably like legendary, right?
That would
Just
make
open
sense.
the legendaries. What is it?
I didn't even know it was a whole pack. I thought it was just one card.
Can
that
you
were
do it
gonna get.
again? That was fun.
Road to legendary. Oh. What are these? This music. Oh, it's a common. Varus T1. Gumayusi.
Common Gumayusi W.
A common Gumayusi W. Okay, another common here. Wukong. Kwangdong Freaks.
Oh,
Young
another
Jay.
Young Jay.
Another Young Jay. I'm collecting these Young Jays, man.
You
3
are young
commons.
jaying it up.
Karma.
Karma. June. From
Oh, I thought it was
Kwangdong
gonna be
Freaks.
Moham.
Wait,
You got
yeah.
That's
June.
like
You didn't get
budget
Moham.
Ondil.
Yeah, I got June.
You got budget Ondil. Ondil's the
All
guy
right.
now, right?
Well, I got 3 commons. It's pretty affordable buy, just 10 LC.
It's a road to legendary Valdes. Think
Yeah.
about the future.
Who knows? I mean,
All right, it's time for my VIP pack. I don't know. I'm gonna click open
all right,
pack.
VIP pack.
See if
VI
it lets me
pack.
do it. It does. It is working.
Click the.
I'm gonna click the icon now.
Get ready for the music.
Yeah. Oh, super rare.
Super rare. It's an. Did you
Kana.
Kana?
Kanar.
Kanar?
It's super rare.
That's so rare.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. What's red?
Rare.
Just normal
Silas.
rare.
Regular
Sandbox.
rare though.
Closer. Okay.
That's
Those are
pretty
Silas.
cool.
I'll take it. Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah,
solid.
Yeah.
It's it's iconic.
Common.
Oh,
Sylvie.
a
okay.
common
vibe.
Sylvie.
Oh, it was a
Yeah.
Wukong. It's much rarer than Sylvie Wukong.
A notion card. I'll take it.
Oh,
Rascal.
it's a common
Cassante.
rascal.
Yeah. I think that one has deprecated a little bit in value. I have so many conflicting emotions. Let's press the
Road
button.
to Legendary. It's got good music.
Oh,
You got a rare?
super rare.
Seri?
Or is that regular rare?
It's
All right.
Bees?
Yeah, that's cool. I
That's
love
good.
Pace.
There you
Big
go.
Pace fan. Very enjoyable.
That's a good one.
Fiora, a doo-doo.
Do Fiora?
There you go.
All right, that's actually pretty solid. That,
That's
could be
that's
the
a
really
good one.
cool stick highlight clip thing.
Yeah.
And Morgan. Did you? Okay, fake
A
it, great.
Faker card?
Fake
Okay,
it.
so-
card.
Oh, Faker, the guy who made Gragas Smith a thing?
Yeah. This might actually be the match in which he did it as well. Like halfway, like 2 quarters through spring. Could be.
Could be.
That's
Yeah.
a pretty good selection.
Solid roll. Solid roll.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
That was it. I did it.
All right, you did it.
Press the buttons.
Well, legend.
All right, on to the next. I want you to
Can
get
you
a
not,
legendary.
Can you not say it out loud what you get as well?
Okay. Oh, it's a super
It's a
rare.
rare.
Syndrome. And I get a Showmaker, a Super Mesh Showmaker as well?
Is it super?
Oh,
it's just regular.
No,
rare.
it's just
just
a rare.
regular.
Oh, sorry,
He
regular.
doesn't even know the
Get too
tiers.
excited.
It's just. I wanted a super rare.
Rare.
It's another rare, and it's a deft. Do I get Showmaker deft
get the
back
whole
to
team.
back?
Just get the whole team.
Here we go.
That's a
Super rare? That
Elise?
it's an Elise.
It's the Willer Steel.
Oh, shit! That's actually kind of dope, though. That is actually kind of dope, though. We were there. We were there. Oh, I now got some Doran, a common Doran now.
Okay.
That seems about right. And another common T1 Gumayusi angle.
Which champ though?
It's a
Varus.
Varus.
Okay. All right.
Oh man, I'm very happy about the Willa Showmaker deft though.
That's huge.
Ooh. Okay, now serious business time. It's a common. It's a
Common.
bit sad. Quantum Freaks. Okay, it's a Taeyoon.
Taeyoon.
It's Taeyoon. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Let's go next. Let's go next.
Another comment.
Where are the rares though? I do like peanuts.
Peanut.
It's delicious.
Okay.
Okay. Next one.
Oh.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to go again. Although Owner is cool and all, but it's like triple common.
I think it would be
sometimes
very
unlucky.
thematically accurate if Max gets to open another
Oh,
pack.
you get to repurchase the pack. That means it
It's just a
throws
one
these
button
away,
press.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you get new ones.
Yeah,
I
go
don't
for
think
it.
it's a mulligan button, but you can.
Yeah, it's a
use it,
mulligan button. Just use the
I
full
think
amount.
Max
Let's
should
go.
you are a gacha representative.
Yeah, it's a mulligan. We just mulligan. So
Yeah,
you can just go again. Cut the video and replay from here. Yeah, perfect. Good. Another common. No, I don't need to worry about that. A Nongshim, a Peter angle? Oh, that's actually
Yeah,
kind of dope.
Nami.
I'm actually kind of into that. That's fine.
These packs aren't
Ooh,
paying
a
for
faker common.
themselves.
We take faker
Okay,
commons.
that probably pays for the pack. Yeah, there you go.
Paid for the pack.
Ooh, the king and Orn angle.
The king and Orn angle.
That's a good one.
That is actually playmaking as well.
Oh.
was probably a flash knockup. For
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, whoops! I slipped. Oh, what an unfortunate
Wait, what?
situation.
We should not have done this. This was a terrible mistake. We have collectively
Max
ruined
isn't dancing
ATLUS.
anymore. He's
no. It's business time.
okay. It's
Oh, the
business.
June.
The June Heimerdinger angle.
Oh,
The
nice.
June dinger. Another peanut. This time the Wukong. I'm swimming in peanuts, man. All right, the Gumayushi. It's another Gumayushi
That means
Varus.
you have a dupe. I think it might be the same one.
Oh, he got a
Yeah, is that the dupe sound?
dupe. All right,
go.
Max. Don't press it again.
Yeah, I don't think we need to press it again. This pack is way less fun than the VIP one because we got the super rare.
You just got to be a VIP. I
Set a
guess.
card you're proud of as your front runner.
Put your Scylla in there.
Peter. I haven't received any packs yet. I can go to my collection and see what I got. All right. Fiesta, common Cassidon,
Common Gassidon.
Krokos Vi, common DRX, Peanut Wukong, common,
Oh.
a rare Kellen Nami,
Oh.
a super rare Carrier Ash,
And a rare
and a
carrier.
rare Carrier Ash,
Oh, that's weird. That
and
happened
my
to me,
cuz,
too.
which was my welcome pack Sejuani common. So pretty solid.
Good effort. Good
It's
effort.
cool. We got to skip the animation part, so it was like a little bit
Animation cancel?
Animation
Speedrun?
cancel
Animation
speedrun
cancel.
wolf.
That's
Oh
Wolf's
my
speedrun.
god.
So
yeah.
I'll do one more as well. It was
Go to
market
packs.
Legendary opening speedrun?
and then
Any
road to
percent?
legendary.
Running.
I'm doing the animation this time. I'm not going to animation cancel for all the people who enjoy it out there. All right. A D plus Sejuani?
Canyon Sejuani.
That
common.
sounds like a POG. Oh, it's a skirmish. All right. Next is Jax Kwangdong Freaks. Okay. Doo-doo Jax.
Okay, that's not bad.
From spring season, February. And then
Oh,
rare
Talia. A bulldog. It's got no. It's a DK. It's a showmaker.
Talia.
I didn't see the DK. I'm
get
so
wrecked.
stupid. Yeah, and I did get wrecked.
Super rare Carrier Ash and the rare Showmaker Talia.
Wow.
Oh
Leave
man.
him weep, okay?
You might say that
over.
it's a rare showmaker, but that is a common wolf W. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From 2023 spring, March 12th.
From Teamfight Series 1.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that
Wow.
was eventful.
That happened.
Quite a few things were selected there. I personally am very happy about the Willa situation, but I don't think I necessarily won. Who won?
I
the
think you
pack
won,
openings?
actually. You got the
The Willer was
super
really
rare, yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
I had the super rare Carrier.
That was
Lux.
Super Rare Carrier is also
That
pretty
was on
dope.
like their Omega Boom domination game. You remember where he was like hitting every single Q?
Yep.
I feel like the Willer super rare one is the special one because you can just instantly know exactly which game it is and which moment it is. Like we
That's
were able to
true.
identify it like instantly, so I think that's the best one.
I think the one thing that is cool is that, at least according to the website, the Proceeds of Legendary actually goes to the teams as well, which given, recent turns in esports, I think is really cool for sustainability.
Yeah.
And I hope it's a precursor to real cards, because those would be really cool.
Like,
It'll make me
honestly,
very happy.
Just to follow up on an idea that we just had off air, wouldn't it be cool if you could elect like your favorite cards, and at the end of the year there's like a season for the legendaries, and at the end you get 5 of them that you can
For
elect to
real.
get printed out,
That'd be nice.
and then like they send you a physical copy. Like maybe you could like reach certain milestones with like the amount of like points that you've put in, so that you could like earn it or something like that. That would be super dope. Anyway, we'll see whether maybe LCK could look into it, because the physical cards would just be like the coolest thing. And we have physical cards.
And they are
They
awesome.
are the
And-
coolest.
as does LPL, which are also
Yeah.
super awesome.
Yeah, no, they're so cool. My Morgan cards, man. I think some of my most prized
My Croco
possessions.
cards will scale eventually, surely.
Just not today.
No, not this split, I think.
Yeah, as we are, of course, coming off Sunday's games, we had Bro taking down T1 in 3 games. Pretty epic series. Notable definitely is the fact that Faker is still not on T1. And after that, Live Sandbox 2-0 over DRX, which puts the bottom of the standings on 4-10, 4-10, 4-10, 3-11. Like, there's an extra 4-10 in there. So the entire eastern side of the bracket could still make it to playoffs. It is just kind of nutty. And with 4 matches left remaining for every team here in the LCK, maybe 2 of them could also make it.
So, yeah, because that's what we need to talk about first, right? Whether T1 has a realistic chance of actually dropping out. And I think because of a lot of the 4-10 teams still playing each other, that doesn't seem like it's possible, obviously, because T1's form right now has been really, really rough, as evidenced by the fact that they just lost against Brion and just how they look.
Yeah.
But because it's hard for, I think, a lot of the 4-10 teams to actually get to 7, like they might end up being 6, though, which is still...
I mean, Bro could
insane.
pretty likely
There's-
get there.
So, like,
I thought about
But
one scenario, by
What's
the
that?
way. And this is just one of the very few scenarios in which this could happen. So Bro's got the easiest schedule right now. They're probably going to win against Nongshim and DRX. So there's a decent chance that they make it through. But if Nongshim and DRX lose, then it's probably going to have to be either Kwangdong or Live Sandbox that make it through. But their schedules are really difficult, right? So it would require someone like Sandbox to defeat like T1 and Hanwha to make it through alongside of Bro.
It's actually like even easier to simplify this because the 4-10 teams can only get 8 wins maximum, right? T1 is on 7 wins. So if T1 wins 2 games of the 4 they have left, they're in, period. So T1 have DRX, KT, Kwangdong, and Live Sandbox. DRX, the rematch with DRX's current form, I give T1 the edge there against KT. Yeah, T1 probably not going to win that one, but to expect them to beat one of Kwangdong and Live Sandbox, I think is pretty reasonable. And that's, of course, assuming that one of these teams on the east side wins every single game. And they would then
Well,
have
two of
to
them
do...
would have to.
Well,
Right?
yeah.
So
Two of
that's
them would
why,
have to.
That's why it's so
Yeah.
nearly impossible, right?
And also, like, the game difference between T1 and the closest, which is Kwangdong, is 10 games. So it's just... It's not mathematical, but...
it's probably like one scenario, actually.
Yeah, it's one
won't be
scenario,
a
and
lot.
it's not Bro and Live Sandbox. It actually can't be Bro and Live Sandbox, right? It can, because they're facing off against each other.
Yeah.
It has to be someone...
If they are, then it can't be those two.
Yeah, it has to be someone the T1 is facing.
So I guess
and
Kwangdong.
has to
Kwangdong and Bro, probably.
So Kwangdong and Bro could be an option, but it has to be... So T1 has to lose to them, theoretically, as well, right?
I think
Pretty much every
realistically,
game,
Yeah.
T1 to me would be like 7th or 8th right now, if you look. Because Brion, I think, actually is a team where we've seen...
Based on current performance, then,
literally,
yeah.
like recently, right? Like we've seen all our good teams. I think KT might not have faced them yet, or 2-0 them, but like Hanwha dropped a game, D+ dropped a game. Like Bro right now is just in good form. And I think that Nongshim and DRX are the 2 that still look worse, and Kwangdong probably, because that team is just... doesn't seem to
doesn't look
really look good right now. But I take Sandbox, particularly given what they showed today, and Brion both over T1 right now. But because they're already on 7 wins, and as you pointed out, the match score is really good for them, I think it's still unlikely that they like last minute drop out.
Yeah, so we're assuming that T1 is going to be in 5th place.
Yeah.
And then it's 6th that all of these teams are vying for. Based on schedule, it looks like Bro have the easiest run to get there, but they do have to go through Live Sandbox in order to do it. So Live Sandbox kind of have, if they continue their form, and the reason I'm talking about Live Sandbox a fair bit is because I was very impressed by how they played against DRX tonight. Like, we actually got a little bit of a hint of what all of these players are actually capable of if they all do the things we knew they were capable of.
'Cause they did them
and
in spring.
haven't been doing at all. And like, yeah, they did it in spring, but Teddy came back and we saw him have some like decent games. We're like, oh, right. So Teddy's form hasn't completely fallen off a cliff, but why is Closer like just running it down for some reason in this game? And like, they've never had like the perfect storm of everyone's actually doing good things together.
Yeah.
They've
To me-
always had like someone throwing.
It was about the drafting, right? They just had a draft where you all have to be together, it doesn't work, and then they went together. That was basically as simple as it is. And unfortunately, the performance from DRX was also weak. Like, I think it was uncharacteristically weak from them, but they've been on a bit of a loss streak themselves. They're on 5 losses in a row. Their last win actually being against T1, I believe, where they were
Yep.
able to upset
2-0. Yeah.
So, when you're not watching at those flanks or anything like that, it just becomes really easy to play out. But Live Sandbox, knowing their win conditions, playing to them and playing basic compositions, I think that's kind of what whoever is going to take that 6th place spot needs to do. We found that like the Eastern teams, when they try to play complicated stuff, when they're trying to do finesse, as we like to call it these days, maybe let's move away from that, because that's where it gets risky. That's when you can mess up, and that's when you can take really rough losses that you otherwise wouldn't have, and then you just kind of get boomed. And that like 1 or 2 losses for any of these teams means you're probably not going to win that race.
It's also why I think DRX is like the one, because they lost to Nongshim specifically. Like that probably was for them what also broke
Yeah.
not just in terms of like actually just getting the games, but also the mental. I think that was the match that they needed to win to maybe rally, and maybe everything comes together at the end of the split. And I'm like, nope, not happening.
Yeah, and then it would have been DRX in 9th place, and Nongshim would have been the one that is sitting in 10th.
Yeah, because DRX, their schedule wasn't that bad, but then they lost to Nongshim.
Yeah, they were looking okay. But I mean, the same thing can be said for Kwangdong Freaks as well. There's a reason why they had a plus 50%
Sixth loss
ELO
streak.
chance of getting into the playoffs.
And they've
lost all of the games.
Kwangdong Freaks have KT, D+, T1, and then DRX. That's their remaining schedules. So they might. I mean, I could actually see a world where they go on a 10-loss streak, and 4 is as big as it goes for wins for them.
Yeah, because it's also worse to face the team that you're supposed to beat after you've just been getting pummeled by a bunch of other teams, which is what's probably going to happen.
And also, they've taught me a valuable lesson that when you listen to Scrimbucks at the beginning of the season, you should not listen to them, actually. And
Yeah.
you should throw them out and just believe in yourself.
Yeah, I'm more of a legendary cash guy myself.
Yeah, that would have been better. So let's put this in context of
Like from the cards, guys.
no,
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah,
I
okay.
didn't.
Yeah.
Now I get it. I didn't get it.
Sorry.
Brandon's like, I deal in Pokemon money. I'm like, all right, Brandon.
Tough crowd, man.
Isn't that yen?
It's rough.
Okay. Let's talk about it in the context of the patch, though, because the patches are going to be changing. We know in the previous episode we spoke about 13.13. That patch didn't happen. It wasn't real. And so now we're finally getting to it. So 13.13 is going to be around for a week. And then in week 9, we're heading towards 13.14, which is where a bunch of the extra changes are going to come through. And I think the game is going to change up. I think from what we saw, we had a couple of days on 13.13 here in the LCK in Challenger, and we saw that players really liked picking Lee Sin, and then we reverted back to 13.12, and players still just realized that they liked picking Lee Sin, and so they kept doing that anyway. And so, I don't know. I didn't really notice too much of a change.
It's also outside of Annie, I'd say most of the champions have dropped in priority pretty substantial margin. So in case you don't remember, because it was a while ago, Annie and Aphelios is already the only one. Vi is still prioritized by some people and
Nico?
banned against specific. Oh yeah, Nico actually. Good point. But Wukong has dropped off. Ivern is only in specific situations. Varus we barely see anymore.
We've seen way less Rek'Sai as well.
Don't remind me. She's getting nerfed on the next patch as well. Can we just hone in on the fact that the champion was so broken she had to be really harshly nerfed 3 patches in a row?
Chronicler, we saw it that one time and it didn't perform well.
Yeah.
So that means that nobody can use it well and it's bad.
As it turns out,
ruined
solo
Rek'Sai.
queue stats and their correlation to our pro games not always linking up. So
Master
far.
Yi also gets nerfed, by the way.
It's very important.
Sometimes. And he doesn't get played in pro play either.
So this is also a bit of a static Shiv nerf patch as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I was just going to say, I think static Shiv's already kind of fallen off right now in the LCK
Yeah.
on 13.12. So might really just kind of be, at least for this patch, kind of the final nail in the coffin for some of the Tristana builds we're seeing right now, the static Shiv Akali. I mean, I think Kaisa is still fine on this patch for it, but some of these mid picks we're seeing maybe a little bit less.
I think it's more like the mage mids that we're relying on
LeBlanc.
that it actually affects, right?
Yeah.
So Tristana can still build it because you don't rely on the AP scaling in order to do anything. So I think that's totally fine. But yeah, the LeBlancs, the Akalis, I actually think that the teams that have been playing these static Shiv mages, this patch actually buffs them because now they know that they're not supposed to play them and they'll just build Dash Cannon Akali and things will be fine. That's what I'm expecting.
I actually think that's wisely said. I think that actually
Bailed out.
legit will keep these teams honest and to make the right choices.
No, they're gonna go DMAT and just go it again.
Oh, no.
We've all been around for a long time. We all should know that they'll just choose another draft mistake to make instead. If they have weak drafting, they're gonna draft weekly, and
Yeah, twice a week.
Yeah, twice a week.
yeah,
2 best of 3s.
Yeah.
bi-weekly. Doesn't bi-weekly mean like
can mean
once every
both.
2 weeks,
Yeah,
and it
so
could be twice a week?
Yeah, that'd be fortnightly, though.
It
You
can
know?
mean both.
What?
You know? Fortnightly is once every 2 weeks. And then
Also
bi-weekly,
bi-weekly.
I think, is twice a week. But that is apparently not how it works.
think
I had
it
an
can be
argument
both.
with someone about
There's
it. It was
also
really sad.
the one that is really confusing is biannual and what is it? Biannual.
Bicentennial?
Biennial.
Yeah. Which are two different ones. Anyway, besides the point. I think 13.14
Sounds like a very different thing. Chronicler.
isn't going to be that big of an impact. Besides, maybe we'll see Lee now that he's actually buffed. and
Nidalee?
that will Nidalee.
Yeah, Nidalee buffs are pretty important, like the 5 movement speed. We just saw triple
Ask
Cloud
Huni
Soul,
about it.
by the way, and movement speed's broken.
Huni loves movement speed as well.
Heck yeah. Man after my own heart.
I mean, with Renekton being as strong as he is, and some of our perennial, I'll give you guys that one, Nidalee players, like Canyon, maybe we could see a little bit of Nidalee Renekton. Maybe once or twice, Some of these teams at the top of the standings, they're going to punch down. They might have some fun, just a little bit of a Week 8, 13.3 action.
It's also an insanely one-sided match with the Sejuani, which is getting perma-blinded everywhere all of the time. So if you can draft prior lanes with it, can get early invades off, can make that board very sad.
There you go. That could be the opportunity. We'll have to see how it goes. But if you are interested in our full thoughts about 13-13, you can go back to the previous episode. What we're going to do now is have a look at what's going to happen in Week 9, which is going to be our movement towards 13-14, our patch for both 9 and 10, and then the playoffs as well. So this is the
10?
big one.
Week 10?
Yeah, Week 10 of that's the
Playoffs.
the week that happens after 9, where it's not a real week. Yeah.
Okay. Week 10 and playoffs.
So
and
Week
finals.
9 and playoffs, including finals, will be on 13-14 to,
Yeah.
just to make that clear for everyone.
and Week 10, even though it doesn't exist. The non-existent
Used to.
Week 10. Yeah. I think I'm stuck in that
Times
part.
have changed.
Anyway, it's Week 10.
It could exist again also.
Yeah.
One day.
I just actually spoiled the
Honestly,
fact
I'm
that,
aware of it.
Week 10's coming
Never
back
know.
for next year.
Sometimes there's just a week 10 all of a sudden. Sneaks up on you.
The 4-day week.
I would say you're a Week
Rest
10.
Rest
in
peace.
Not a solid 10, but you're still a 10,
I agree.
So any Jax nerfs on 13.14?
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, there are. And
that
I'm really
Hecarim
glad.
guy, it's not going to be around.
And I just think that the Karthus nerfs are really necessary for that one because Canyon really was running amok in
So-
13-13.
The mana
Interesting
abuse.
part. Yeah, so the interesting part is that specifically bot lane Karthus was super busted, so that got nerfed. But they buffed jungle Karthus because they didn't want to nerf Karthus in the jungle because they thought he was fine there. So that's super good. We had a small discussion before, and I don't think we'll end up seeing it because it is something that you need to set up your draft for. You need to have lanes that actually protect it, and you want to
DK
be
can do
AD.
that.
But there are drafts, like if you have Renekton Tristana, for example, where you can conceivably pick it up and support it. And I think outside of DK, I don't think anyone would do it. I don't think we
I
have
don't think
any
so.
other teams that would go in that direction. But, it could be cool. Diana also buffed, which maybe now Kenyon and Showmaker
Mid
Yeah.
Shaco?
on it.
Anyone?
So maybe D+ were like, this was working in scrims on 2 patches from now. Surely we can just do it. And
Yeah, the
it'll be
nerfs
fine.
or the buffs are pretty substantial for Diana
One
as
guy
well.
who I think we might see is Aatrox. We have a lot of
Yep.
Aatrox players, and he
Aatrox
just
is
got
strong,
a
I
big
know.
buff. So I think that could really change, especially with Jax getting nerfed and Aatrox potentially coming into the top lane. We're definitely going to see a lot of different, because it's always if you pick this, then you can't pick
Yeah,
that.
it's the
With Renekton
reshuffling,
and Rumble, and Jax is there, and you got to so now Jax might fall down. And what does Aatrox mean, to all
Jax
these other picks?
replacement? Yeah.
Maybe. I don't think Aatrox is quite the...
He's not quite the same type of
not
champion,
quite
but
the same guy.
I think in the
but
tier list he might go up to that peg. The Lissandra buffs, I think, might delete whatever remnants of Ahri, rather, that we had here in the LCK.
Ooh, that's
'cause
true.
They're big.
We've been seeing a lot of Ahri, and only Chovy is making it work. And I want to see less Ahri right now. And with Lissandra getting buffed, probably a little bit less.
So this was the handhold of the bro levers.
Yeah.
Because
Wait, what?
Lissandra buffs. That means Karis is back.
He's already kind of
already
back.
back.
He's
I
already
know,
back.
But no. I mean, so after that series, you're probably like, well, what happens when bro doesn't get Azir? Well, now
They have
they have Lissandra, and so it's probably gonna be okay.
It's also a champion that really suits their playstyle right now with Umpty's aggressive tendencies and their dives. And it does feel like a good for bro situation.
Yeah, mid lane's not really a role right now where I feel like you need a super deep champion pool. Like you could be BDD, but also you could just be an Annie Azir 2-trick. And you're doing great as long as you're
maybe.
good at it. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to throw some staples in
So now
there,
like
but-
they get another like
Tristana.
little piece that
Yeah.
could work, and they might just play Azir and Lissandra the whole playoffs and win.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm talking about, of course.
What I also think is big is that the Kai'Sa priority should not really change, even with the shift nerfs, because I think that the build will still work relatively well. But Aphelios is really... Because he's getting nerfed on the batch beforehand. Then Gilforce is getting nerfed, and even though we haven't seen it recently, I think the fact that Ghost doesn't reset anymore, like all of those combined, I think it might be enough to drop Aphelios even further down the priority list. We've already seen him kind of be not as highly prioritized as the Kai'Sa Xayah situation. And also the fact that Infinity Edge is buffed, I don't think it's enough, but eventually we might go full circle and like people might lock Kai'Sa, and then we see like Caitlyn come in to really try, and we've gone full circle from, you know, hyper carries to Kai'Sa Xayah to lane bullies again.
What about
and
Tristana bot with Infinity Edge? Is that crazy?
You
You like flex the Tristana down, and
I mean, I
you
think
counter
Tristana
the
flex
Kai'Sa,
already is.
right?
I mean,
is
it's
not too
already
bad.
But now,
working.
like with Infinity Edge, maybe.
What about
With
Jinx
Shiv getting
with
hit?
IE? I mean, if there's
Yeah.
less threats, like depending on how the meta is looking in terms of like if you feel like you need Gale Force or not, I could see IE Jinx as well, just with her range and the way that team fights are playing out right now, where it's often just go for a big combo, get a kill, get the Jinx excited. I could see her potentially coming up a little bit on 13.14 as well with some of those changes.
No, I agree. I actually think that ranged 80 carries, because it's all doing the shift around, right?
Yeah.
And so as soon as Kai'Sa comes back, she like surges up, and then everyone's like, wait, hang on a second, what was good into Kai'Sa
Range.
before? And then we saw like the onslaught of just range. And then if you picked any of these like Kalista, Kai'Sa champions, it just feels like, wow, then why did you even do this? It's so dumb. Like, you just need 1 billion range. But we're not seeing that now because Aphelios is so prevalent, right? Like, people just want to be able to pick this mid-range 80 carry.
It's also really interesting to me what's going to happen with Milio, because he dropped in priority really fast in the LCK, and then he was banned a lot in the second phase because of how the drafts were working, where you had to like make sure you got your OP champions and then an 80 carry, but then often the supports were in the second phase, so he was banned away a lot of the time, but kind of exclusively against, generally speaking, like Draven or Aphelios lanes, but Aphelios more than anything else, but he's also getting nerfed on this patch, so Milio might just be kind of dead for a while, depending on how the meta shifts, because if it is, and it does end up being like a meta where Caitlyn, for example, is viable, like you were talking about, that seems like maybe his priority goes back up, because that's insanely busted if you have that lane prio there and you can bully. So I'm really curious to see where he ends up, because I was pretty
Yeah.
shocked, honestly, how quickly he dropped, but I was the one who felt like if maybe Milio wasn't that good in this meta because it doesn't give you that much engage, and his disengage isn't always helpful, but I was kind of proven wrong at first, but then eventually like he dropped in priority a lot and wasn't winning a lot, and maybe he's just kind of not going to be relevant for this rest of the LCK.
I think it depends on what's going to make its way back into the jungle and towards the top side as well. Because if you've got like a whole bunch of bruisers, then you do kind of rely on support for engage.
Yeah.
But if you have like a resurgence of like, for example, Spirited Dread's got a bunch of extra stuff added to it. So Hecarim, at least is on the buff list, right? If he's going in with Onslaught of Shadows and stuff like that, then maybe you can then have Amelia. You can spare that slot for engage opportunities.
Yeah, but for
Like if Lissandra's coming back, for example, you can engage.
for
Like,
for Haka specifically, it's a buff to the Bruiser build, but a nerf to the Assassin build, I think, because they did take down. Because he used to just go Duskblade, Manamune, and just
Insta-kill one person.
Insta-kill people.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think Bruiser Hecarim is
It's a fun build.
It is a fun build. It's kind of hard. I wouldn't mind seeing him back though. It's been quite a while. Also, the final champion I think that is important that is getting nerfed is Rel, because Rel has been very, very good. Combines well with a lot of the other picks. The Rumble I think is the main one, but we've seen it combined with a lot of other stuff. And it also has made Alistair come back, which I think is cool because Alistair is a champion with a lot of skill expression, looking at you, Lance, with the classic, die level 3 and then get POG by just hard carrying every single subsequent fight. Don't know if it'll be enough to really take her down, but maybe instead of Rel, it'll be Leona. I don't think we're going away from engage supports anytime soon.
Nautilus, Leona, always going to be relevant, I think.
Yeah.
Rel is still really good though.
Yeah, I don't think it'll.
I think they're
take
getting
out.
her more in line. I think she'll still be played. Another champ on the buff list was Volibear. Might see him a decent amount because he did get some pretty good buffs.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like
We have
overall
2 bears in the jungle.
Yeah, I think this patch is pretty good for Humble Esports. It is. You get Kingen back on Aatrox. Like Grizzly absolutely can play the Volibear.
Cuz also a great volleyball player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Zeka can play
Canyon's pretty
Lissandra.
good at it too.
I feel like I remember him playing a good Lissandra, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think the best
be the way.
Lissandra players were definitely Faker and Chovy. Last time we had Lissandra being really relevant.
And
against
BDD.
Ori.
BDD's angle finding was always really, really good.
BDD was probably a close third, I'd say, to them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the patch changes because we have kind of really lived in 13.12. You know what I mean? It's been a while.
Yeah.
We've stewed in it, yeah.
And it's not as defined as our Azeri Lucian Nami meta, but it is starting to feel a little bit stale. So I'm really looking forward to moving on. And hopefully our LCK teams will adapt quickly because that is one thing that we are not known for here in our region. And I'm hoping that
over time.
I think that
Yeah,
our
maybe.
teams are
Too
probably
slow.
so excited about not playing on this patch that they're going to try all of the things that have been changed on the patch.
I mean, it just takes 2 weeks because we actually saw a pretty substantial development in the final week of 13-12 compared to the beginning.
Yeah.
And I also actually think it's cool to talk about what this patch might mean because we already mentioned a little bit. I think
that's what we want to move on
Yeah,
to now is
exactly.
discussing who the biggest benefactors are and how that's going to change the race for playoff positioning as well as who's going to get there. And I think bro stock is rising with Lissandra buffs. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I look at since 13.14 is only on week 9. Sorry for any week 10 believers, but
Stop it. It's playoffs.
it's only on week 9, so for me, it's not going to change that much in terms of the standings for the race in that final slot for playoffs and the bottom teams because half of your games will be played by that point. So you get 2 games on this patch, but it's probably not going to save you. You know what I mean?
No, but I was talking about when we get into the actual.
So what I was going to say is I'm more interested in talking about what it means for playoffs. Actually, I think in our top teams than I am about what it means for our bottom teams.
Well, it's more who's going to be at the playoffs, right? And whether they can use this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they do get to playoffs, I guess we can talk about what theoretically could occur at that point as well.
Yeah, but so I think with how the power levels of the teams are right now, Gen G is obviously second fiddle to KT because the matchup wasn't really. I think it was a bad day for Gen G, but I think even
It was a bad day for Score as well, definitely.
Yeah, even if it was a good day based on the play from KT, I think they always would have won the series. I like that meta read a lot more, and I think the individual play looks a lot better. So, but I think they still match up close enough that you can have them as one category. Then you have a pretty sizable gap. I actually think Hanwha is really solidified as third at this point.
100%.
By a margin that I wouldn't have thought was imaginable 2-3 weeks ago.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think Hanwha just have such a large versatility of champions they can play, which is weird to say because at first it seemed like Grizzly was kind of relying on Viego, for example, but he's since widened his champion pool quite significantly. And Viper, we know, can play anything, and he's been around so long, he has played everything. So if the AD carry meta, I think, is the one that we're not 100% sure what's going to happen with, because mid, you can have some ideas about some of these nerfs and changes. Top side, there's, the Jax nerfs, maybe Aatrox comes back, which is good for Kingen, by the way. But I feel like Viper is just so good at everything that compared to Def right now in terms of champion pool, I give him a pretty huge edge in terms of what he's been able to show throughout this entire year. So I feel pretty good that that Hanwha Life will be able to get through this patch. In defensive D+, though, they have always been pretty smart in terms of adapting quickly on new patches. So I think both of these teams will actually emerge like better for it. I do worry a little bit about T1, who are struggling with trying to figure out their footing right now as well. Again, I don't think they're going to get knocked out of playoffs. We've already discussed this.
It's going to be very hard for them to drop out, yeah.
I just don't know what it means for, like, do they get further than the first round of playoffs?
Yeah, and if you're a T1 fan, I know there's a lot of you out there, even if they do kind of, like, come into summer playoffs and they get, like, shreked by DK or something like a 3-0 or whatever, like, it's not over for them probably. They have enough championship points to almost definitely make it. I'm not sure about the calculation, but should have enough to make it into the Worlds qualifiers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's where
almost guaranteed.
DRX came from to win Worlds. So at the end of the day, like, maybe T1 make this huge resurgence and this will all just be a blip on their radar of history or whatever. But you know, it's a struggle for them. We'll just have to wait and see how they come out on the other side. But they have time.
Yeah, because I think the only scenario involves like the finals being Hanwha Life and D+, because of how the points work, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't have Genji and KT because they already have so many points that if that ends up being the finals, then it would take away someone with a lot of points.
Also, like, Kwangdong would have to get third or something
to
beat T1 in points somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So and I think that, as you point out, like the fact that I think playoffs is still so close to actual LCK, but if you get knocked out in first round of playoffs, you have both time to like have Faker's injury heal and also, or at least hopefully, and then also actually have a reset. And then, you know, as we saw with DRX, we thought it was going to be KT or Sandbox.
Yeah, and then you
then they won.
And then you run the gauntlet, you get like so much more best of 5 experience.
There you go.
And then
Play-ins.
you
Start
go to the
believing.
play-ins, and then
Yeah.
you like have even more. And
Yeah, that's not the case anymore though. Play-ins buff is gone now.
yeah, that's true.
You go straight to Swiss.
Any fans of Swiss cheese?
Yeah,
I
it's
like
delicious.
holy cheese. I'm not a huge Swiss cheese fan.
I think it's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's
I
not
think
as
there
good
are
as
definitely
B-tier.
better
It's not as
holy
good.
cheeses.
It's not as good as Dutch cheese, but it's all right.
What is Dutch cheese?
Yeah, tell me about
Gouda?
that.
Gouda? Yeah, I'm a big
there's a-
fan.
there's a
actually.
ton-
Oh,
Gouda?
Gouda's Dutch? I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I like Gouda cheese.
And
a lot.
actually, we
I only eat
here
cheese
in
from
Korea, if you
Wisconsin
go to the
and
supermarket and,
Vermont.
you get Gouda cheese, it's almost always just it's got like Dutch stuff on the front, like
Huh,
there's a windmill. and
I
things.
like Gouda cheese, but I don't like it so much that I was that aware. Honestly, I wasn't aware. Why would you be that it was Dutch? Yeah.
just more like it's cheese. We
We
normally
really-
just eat cheddar.
The
in
nickname in
Australia.
Europe for Dutch people is cheeseheads, which is very appropriate.
Makes sense.
For us, it's Wisconsin.
Doesn't sound very appropriate. I wouldn't want to be called a cheese
We
head.
call ourselves that as well.
Anyway, back
just true.
back
Yeah, we
to,
can probably draw
let's
it
go
back.
to
Speaking of
let's
cheese,
pull it
let's
back.
get into the
Yeah.
LCK.
Yeah. So we're expecting that even if T1 drop out, then they do have another chance. And maybe
It's
that's
not
what they did.
Jover yet.
It's not Jova quite yet,
But
but it's getting there.
yeah, and I think even with D plus being a little bit floundering, I do think that it was just 6th, and now it's looking like 5th and 6th are not expected to be contenders at all. Also flies with what we've seen historically, like the 6th seed. Getting there is the achievement. Bro last year in spring, I think it was Kwangdong last year
Was it
in
Liv-
summer.
Liv Sandbox?
Sandbox.
Or
Yeah,
was
you're
that
right.
spring?
No, because that was
Liv
this
Sandbox
spring.
Bro
happened,
was
right?
last year.
Bro was last year in spring,
Yeah.
and then and then
This
we had
spring was Liv Sandbox.
So
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
has happened with our playoffs, generally speaking, is getting there is the achievement
For the
like Marco
6th
said.
place, yeah.
and then getting stomped by the team that we expected to also beat them in the first round gives us false hope about that team, who then loses. So the favorites who then go to the finals.
That's the script generally. Yeah.
That's the script.
that's been happening a lot.
and we'll write down our funny brackets, and then they'll be out the window like instantly. And we're like, oh, but we designed our
Does
whole
that mean that
bracket
T1
based on
beat
this team
DK
doing what
in
they're
the
supposed to
first
do.
round,
I mean, that,
according to that
if
script.
Faker comes
Yeah.
back and they have a good read on the patch, like in best of 5s,
Could
I don't think it's
happen. I
likely,
mean-
but you never know.
If he's feeling good and like
None of us even made the argument of D plus getting beaten by Hanwha last time around.
No, exactly. Although I
didn't
think
seem
Wolf was
possible.
trying to push for it.
I thought I said it was possible.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we entertained it, but normally we often have someone that's like, no, I think this could actually happen. I mean, maybe someone did. I don't remember.
My
anyone-
big push last season was that KT was going to get picked by T1, and
There
they
you
were going to
go.
the winners bracket final, and everyone was like, "No, that's impossible." I was like, I think it's likely, and then it came true. But also,
Oracle Wolf strikes again.
what's really interesting is, well, I mean, just believing in KT when they're good has like been it's been rewarding. Let's say, KT. Speaking of, likely to get first place this season.
Oh, yeah.
They're up a
Yeah,
game, and
Absolutely.
Gen G have Bro left and Live Sandbox, so even if they 2-0 both of those, KT have T1, which, you know, I mean, a bit of a tougher one, but probably a 2-0.
I think we
and
have to
Gnome Shim.
obligatory say it's a bit of a tough one, but no, it won't be a tough one.
Not anymore.
I mean, tougher than what I just said for Gen G. But yeah, I think
maybe.
both of these teams
Yeah.
will probably go 4-0 for the remaining games. And KT, with that win over Gen G, has one additional game score. So looks like they're going to win the season, which is, I mean, it's been a very long time, hasn't it? That's wild.
It's actually crazy as well because KT, if they do go 4-0, they will break Gen G's record that they just made this season.
Yeah.
And go on to be just behind T1
Last year.
and their record.
second
if that
best
does
record
happen.
ever.
So
Yeah.
many records. There's a lot of like super powerful teams that are taking over the league in recent years. You know, T1 obviously, Gen G, KT now.
D plus before
It's kind of
that.
weird just
Yeah.
to like watch the different patterns and stuff because now like we've got this meta where KT and Gen G are pretty far ahead of everyone else. Like even Hum Life Esports, who are the closest at this point, like there is a huge upper echelon like where only those two stand, and then everybody else are just like the humans underneath.
There's a pattern, though.
And then it's like Hum Life Esports and DK who are on their own tier, but then like T1's way below those two as well.
Yeah.
It's like really separated.
There's a
which
pattern-
we haven't had for a while.
There's a pattern of which teams are like dominating, breaking, and setting records always, is the teams don't change their rosters that much. Shockingly, if
Imagine
you
that.
stay together for the most part, if your core of your team is the same, you will continue to do well. Remember 2021 Damwon as well. All stay
I mean,
together.
KT is the exception, though, right?
Well, like, not
'Cause they
really.
did.
Because I agree with Wolf, but I also think that it's sort of like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because if a team stays together, it's because it's working. And then because it's working, it's getting better because they're building up that synergy together because they've stayed together.
Yeah.
And so, like, if it stops working, then you have to change it, but then you're changing it, and so you're not making it work. And so
KT
you
is
need
the
extra
exception, though.
time.
And there is also the unfortunate T1 situation, this split specifically.
Well, T1 stayed together too long.
Fair point.
yeah.
They went even further beyond.
Like the problem
No,
is
too far.
that they like I think that T1 probably could have stayed together and been fine if they
they
had have actually
won.
won something, but they just haven't.
They won Worlds, yeah, it would have been
yeah.
fine.
And by not something because obviously they won the LCK and stuff like that, but not winning these internationals when they were expected as like heavy favorites moving into it has really done.
Every
a
time we
number
do
on that team.
PogState, I'm like, the mental game of League of Legends is like 60% of it, actually. Like,
Yeah.
I keep pushing it further and further. I'm like, actually, it's 80% next episode.
Yeah.
Well, like to be honest,
Every
like
single time.
How
it's
do you
just the
think
pressure, the mental
Nongshim
game,
wins
it's like
any
everything.
series?
well, like this is
That's
the thing, and
probably
like
the biggest indicator, actually. yeah.
powerful mental is really super duper important. It's why like D plus, all we hear is that like they're super good in scrims, but then they get in their own heads for like a little bit on stage, and then they look middle
Meh.
of the pack.
Very meh.
Yeah, completely meh. And we know that like what these players are capable of, but they're unable to actually make it work because you need so much confidence to go for these plays and then have clear comms at the same time.
Remember
and all this stuff,
Nongshim
like,
last year?
yeah,
Like,
I mean-
the roster they had.
Yeah,
Remember
they
DRX
had-
this year?
Yeah.
DRX this year, yeah.
There's been so many examples, and it also ties into like T1. The players literally don't look the same. Like even when they had issues, like even last year, even when they went to Worlds, etc. Right? Like there were clearly identifiable issues, but it just you can see how far they've regressed mechanically, which is kind of wild. And then on the flip side,
that's hard though, right? Because they've lost their brain because their brain was in the
okay,
mid lane.
but
Well,
your
even
brain
before,
doesn't
well,
stop
even
you.
before Faker left,
They
before Faker was
already-
injured,
they were
struggling.
starting to struggle, yeah.
And like the laning phase should have still been as good if it was just. I mean, I think the mental aspect bleeds into the play. And on the flip side, you also see that a single player can just completely revamp how a roster looks. Humble Life is the example of this, where
Live Sandbox as well, right? Like
Yep.
Clear coming in and they like today
'Cause
especially.
it's just
Or Prince
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
it just makes you believe that hey, things are new now. Even though an individual player has an impact, of course, but it's just I think the idea is what then.
Kehu and
Yeah.
Paddock when they first came in.
Yeah, for like
Hey!
For like the one
Yeah,
game.
I
we're like,
agreed that
whoa.
one time.
yeah, I agree that for like the
Sometimes
first
the
two
guy
Game
goes
one?
down, Cars goes down. He's like, "Oh crap, I'm being benched. I'm
Yeah.
gonna practice my ass off. I'm gonna play in CL and get wrecked there and be like, oh man, I'm really, really bad actually. Practice even more, and now he's like, whoa, I'm really aggressive and
I
good
love
now.
that people are like, even in the Reddit thread afterwards, people are talking about the Karis like training montage,
yeah.
like the arc.
It's a
like
thing.
it's actually so cool.
I mean, it's a thing for Karis. It's a thing even in really minor. But Dundun was sent down for a little bit, even though he played in both. Right?
effort as well.
Yeah, another example. Like, there's been a bunch of players that have just been, even though it didn't end up leading to wins. Croco, I think, was night and day between when he was subbed out and when he came back in terms of individual performance.
Bible? Oh, wait.
But,
Duck Dom 2024?
Any Dockers believers?
Wolf's looking into his crystal ball again. He's spoiling everything.
Hey, maybe it's not 2024. Maybe it's 2023. Maybe
Red
they're saving
training in the mountains with Fly? 2025?
You're gonna watch like the next season of Kingdom, and it's just gonna be those two like on a mountain in the corner or something like that. You're gonna see them there.
You guys
really
laugh,
wanted
but when
it.
Doodoo and Dread are the top duo for T1 next year, I mean,
man.
I think Dread. I read that Dread just
They're pretty good.
retired though. Not to be that guy,
You
but
don't put reality into our fantasy.
but
he's
I don't
reading
want-
the
I don't want you
tabloids again.
I don't want you guys to get overexcited because that
I
sounds
heard he was
cool.
training with
I
Fly in
was-
the mountains, so that's what I heard.
I was a Dread enjoyer myself, you know. I thought his Nongshim career was really sad.
There's like one of the Yasuo skins, the splash art. I can actually see that as just like Dread.
Also,
Yone sitting over there, and that's Fly.
Yasuo Jungle
my
next
God.
year as well, yeah.
Oh yeah, I like it. That's the
Also,
dream. Yeah. Sorry, you were gonna add
you
something.
were
here.
going to say also?
no, I said I like it.
Oh. Also, he likes it.
Yeah.
All right, and so
Honestly,
now
I'm aware
we're
of
gonna
it.
end it on a little bit of a positive note because I think we've been
positive.
here.
Are we ending it?
We've been positive.
I thought we've been good to each other. We need to end this.
We've been doing very.
We've been
I
happy.
think we've been fine and happy.
I wasn't. It's not a comparison. I'm just saying that the ending topic that I want
It's
to talk
also
about
positive.
now is
It's also positive.
It has nothing to do. It's not a comparison.
Well, generally, when
Okay,
you
well, I
say
just
I'm going
wanna
to
make
end on
sure.
a positive note after
I'm gonna put
what
this.
came
signals
before.
contrast.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this down as a negative moment, and so let's end it on a positive note. Pulled it back, baby. No, we need to have a discussion about the best challenger call-ups, and I actually think they've only been
Grizzly.
good challenger
Yeah.
call-ups.
Grizzly, Jiwoo.
Grizzly,
Jiwoo.
Jiwoo, Clear, like
Clear?
all
Yeah.
three of these players looking absolutely amazing, and we just started a English broadcast
Andil?
challenger
Karis?
this year. Andil actually like
Individually.
No.
no, but I actually think individually he's mechanically okay.
sorry.
His laning has been an improvement.
For, like,
I'd
the
say his
first-
laning has been an
I feel like
improvement.
he did what Padak and Yehu did, where it was like, I'm
new.
here, I'm going to make a thing, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden he got like smacked down. He's like, oh crap, I lost all confidence, and now I don't know what
No,
I'm
I
doing.
did. Yeah.
And
Although,
he's made a lot of mistakes.
you
and
know,
I'm worried about him because, you know, that
He
team
may
is
not
like,
be the one who knows the least of what he's doing on that team, though.
He has
Definitely not.
hands. It's clear he can make plays, but
I prefer not to call
The mental
or to
game.
talk too much about Kwangdong because that
team
team
is
environment is seeing
Yeah.
how Bulldog has regressed, how Dudu has clearly just given up is not great.
Yeah.
the mental game.
So back to the positive note.
Yeah, back to the positive note, because Clear coming and joining Live Sandbox, I think we were calling for it all year long. Like, all of us collectively are just like, when is he going to play? When is he going to play? Like, Wolf is like going through all of his contacts here in Korea. He's like, make sure that the spies are out so they can tell us when he's going to start playing. And legally, he was able to play in round 2 and then immediately starts. And I think even in his debut game that they lost 0-2, he was the
looks
one that
pretty
was
good, yeah.
playing the best.
He, I was kind of like cautiously optimistic about him because challengers sometimes can give you these false expectations about
Yeah.
player strengths. Chronicler says yes, he's very. It says,
I am aware.
but no, but on
Aware.
a serious note, I wasn't sure how he'd perform, but as it turns out, like the team he was playing on Live Sandbox in Challengers, like they're a very weak team, and now he actually has a stronger team to play on in LCK.
And he was never actually, he never played
never
for them.
played.
in
Well, he was
Challenger
playing.
side.
Was sorry, he was playing with them, right? He was training with them, whatever. So we didn't know his current
right, yeah,
form.
yeah,
We
okay.
didn't know his current form. But now he's was probably during that time playing with Live Sandbox and Scrims a lot, even though he wasn't eligible to play in LCK, which might also explain some of Birdall's performances and disconnects from the team as well. Maybe they're just like, well, Birdall, like, please exist on
Well,
the top
imagine
lane,
like
but we're
having
really
to
training
play.
this guy.
Yeah, imagine having to play and then knowing that you're probably going to be replaced.
Birdo's career is so cursed,
It
man.
is
Because
so
he
cursed.
literally he got called up too early, then got like Flame Horizon by Ale at Worlds, was playing behind Rascal at the time.
Yeah.
Then went to D+ way too early, was playing together with Hoya, then got replaced by Nuguri, and now... and again, I think, obviously, a lot of the play warrants him being replaced by Clear. But it's just like, it's one of those things that you look at and you're like, that's a rough one.
We
buddy."
kind of just we got overhyped by this guy because his performances were great in solo queue. Everyone was talking about Scrimbox and how well he was doing, and he did have some really high highs. But like ultimately, he didn't end up being a very strong player.
Yeah.
And I think it took like about a year and a half for the narrative to kind of die down. But
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, Clear is, no pun intended, a very clear upgrade at the moment, and might be what helps push Live Sandbox to playoffs. I mean, it's not decided yet, and I'm not putting them as my front runner, but I think he's made a huge impact already in such a short amount of time.
You guys ever read the book Outliers? No. Malcolm Gladwell.
No.
I mean,
It
I've
has
heard
this
of it.
thing where like people who are born earlier in the year get the innate advantage of like, especially at the earlier ages, because you are physically and mentally ahead of your peers who are like 6 months or more younger than you, and it just snowballs, and that like leads to, and then he like looks into a bunch of, I don't know how scientifically relevant it is, but looks into a bunch of like professional sports players on the physical side, and like a lot of them, the vast majority of them are born actually in the first half of the year. I feel like this can be made relevant with Bertel as well, where like he was, he came in, had the wrong thing, he got the
It was a
reverse
chain of-
snowball.
Yeah.
And so he never really got that going. But some players who are like really good and they get into a really good environment right from the get-go, they are the ones that flourish because the snowball is there. And it's so many things, not just their ability, because a lot of these players have great ability. Like Bertel is a fantastic mechanical player, but he was never really able to show it, lost his confidence, kind of never got a chance, got replaced, and
Goes back to that
affects
emotion
him, so-
conversation that
Yeah.
you were talking
Yeah,
about as well.
it's like huge because, guys like Zeus, who comes into a great position, performs right from the get-go, like everybody loves him. Of course, he's going to be on like the best team and he's going to have so much confidence. So like he's just really put in a fantastic spot to succeed.
So what you're saying is Grizzly was born in January.
Pretty much, yeah.
If you've seen
Physically
him,
and
I would
League of
agree.
Legends
I think
way.
if there's a month that we can make up that happens before that, I reckon he's probably there.
Well, people were like anybody but the other guy, right?
Yeah.
So there was like Grizzly, it seems like you're
there's
good.
no
Can you
expectation.
perform? And he's like,
Yeah,
oh, I don't
that's
know.
true.
And he's like, seems like a nice guy. He just does really well. And then all of a sudden, gains all this confidence. And
It's actually not that dissimilar to where Poby is in the LCK, and obviously Poby has way more expectations on him just by the nature of who he is replacing, greatest player of all time, though. And Poby also didn't have the same sort of start that Grizzly had. Like Grizzly, we were already watching him in Challengers going like, oh, this guy's pretty solid. So when we were seeing that he was going to be called up, instead of Guwon, we were like, well, yeah, this is actually really good. They want to actually integrate him into the roster and not just use Guwon and then keep Grizzly where he was and actually give him an opportunity. So I feel like Poby's situation is very similar, but kind of back to what you were saying, like he's on the rougher end of it because all of the additional pressure is like crushing it.
Yeah, he's the cursed version of it, though,
Yeah,
right? Because
exactly.
like, you take out the guy that was the main problem that everyone was blaming, you come in as a solution, whereas Poby, you take out
The solution.
the greatest player of all
and now
time,
you're the problem.
who does everything for the team, and then you come onto the team as like it's not
It's-
even nearly a solution.
No,
It's-
it can actually be a curricular, right? Because we've seen so many players, like a year of challengers can do so much. Feisty was a really good example. When he came in on Brion last
man,
year,
he looked so bad.
Looked really, like, objectively was just not good. And then now he's one of the best mids in CL. And it really is just being able to grow in an environment that's right for you is so big.
I mean, even
and then,
Fiesta as well. Like, remember,
Sure,
like
yeah.
Fiesta last year, like.
Oh, there
last
was another
season
that was
even?
replaced and then came back and looked better.
Right.
There's another one for the...
They're like, oh, let's bring Quad. He's got that more experience and things are going to be fine. And then they try out this, like, apparently on paper better
Yeah.
roster and
Didn't work. Yeah.
How
didn't
about
work.
all-
Go back
Same
to
with
the old
Jiwoo
one.
coming back.
what about Pyrion? What if like Pyrion was on,
Oh, poor
MVP
Pyrion, man.
from the beginning of his, beginning of his career? What about like Closer? Like he's obviously really, really, really good, but kind of had a rough time subbing in for Faker at a time where everybody was like, "No, things are like perfect. Why are you putting this guy in?" Like nobody, and then he was playing these aggressive champs and like falling on his face, and people were just hounding him just for like
Yeah.
playing the game, right? Imagine if he
Yeah,
just
so
had like a nice
I'm
environment.
so glad
to go off
Closer
of.
had a good day today.
Yeah, I mean, I just, and that I think is the really rough situation for Bo because you can't really hold it against him, but he's also just clearly not LCK level, and that's not a,
Yeah.
you can't. there's just nothing you can do about it, unfortunately. And I gotta say, most of the fan I've seen have also been very defensive of him for that specific reason.
Yeah, I remember I tweeted out like in Poby's defense, like I was trying to get in front of it, but then most of the comments that I had were like, "No, don't
Same.
worry." Like no one's.
Yeah,
gonna
we've
do
all
that.
tried to kind of like take care of Poby, but actually, like, no one's really been mean as far
No.
as I can tell.
Well,
so we were all worried.
People are being
find it. You
mean,
can
but
find
not
anything on the internet.
Yeah. You
I
can
think
find it. The majority of the
though,
takes are not it.
Overwhelmingly, though, I feel like people have been really cheering him on, especially the T1 fans.
Yeah,
and
the
the ones
moment,
in the
yeah.
studio as well.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see how many of the like go away for a little bit and come back have just worked out really well this split.
Yeah, the like short break,
Almost
recharge.
is like having a good challengers team is valuable.
Or just a
Who
good
could've
mental
known?
health routine.
Also works.
Take some mental health walks.
Positive
happy
vibes,
walks.
everyone. Positive vibes.
Yeah.
So are we changing the Asia Games roster?
Oh God,
I mean,
All right. On that note, we
that's
if
like
we,
a
if we
whole-
could, we
it's
should.
like a
if we're trying to
long
win,
discussion. Yeah. Well,
We
you
should. I
know
don't know
what?
if it's
I
allowed.
actually,
it's not that.
I
Well,
actually think that both those players will be infinitely better the moment they change environments. I think that I don't think they'll be as good as like Keen Lahens, or Keen Delight, which probably would be your go-to, right?
yeah, I don't know.
They get a taste of coma.
Well,
this
I mean,
time.
like it's Keen, and then I don't know who else should.
All I care about is Kane going, so that we
also,
don't have to
yeah.
say goodbye to him.
I mean, also for other reasons.
Look,
right?
a
'Cause
new
you just-
generation of T1 gets the old generation of
Yeah.
T1's coaching staff is what I was trying to say.
okay.
That is funny. I do
I'm
agree.
glad you clarified.
I'm not talking about the belt, Valdes.
yeah.
I think that a change, as we've been saying, a change of environment will make those players a lot better. Will it be good enough to beat LPL? Maybe, probably not. Who knows? Like
got
tournament
Ruler.
is
I mean, we
far
got
into the-
40% of
Ruler and Kavi,
LPL.
so-
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
be fine.
I think we're
Surely.
good. We have a little bit of
Trophy's
JDG,
still
so I think
great
we win
as
anyway.
well. You know, like
It was
that
supposed to be a
doesn't go
one-line
anywhere.
zinger, and then actually we created relevant discussion.
Nice note to end on.
Nice.
What a banger.
It's absolutely beautiful. But I think that's probably going to do it for this episode of the PogState. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are looking forward to weeks 8 and 9. Unfortunately,
And 10?
we don't have a week 10
Hey, and on a
outside of
negative
Chronicler.
Why me? Why me, man?
Okay, he's a strong 10. Never mind. But that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time for further episodes of the PogState prior to the playoffs. Playoffs PogState.